Yeah, we have major concerns. The bill actually started at 10 employees. But regardless, I have a major concern for this reason. That's what the executive branch's function is. And back to what I said before, that the state, we have this relentless financial pressure on us. And if I went to every legislator, I shouldn't say every, but almost every legislator, including the sponsor of the bill, they'd say, under no circumstances do we want you to raise taxes. Okay? But they can't keep taking tools out of our hand to control the cost of state government. And we're going to have to do that. Now, that isn't, am I saying we're going to have mass layoffs? No. I mean, I think if you look and see what we've done, we haven't had mass layoffs. But if you want to keep taking tools out of the administration's hands, eventually you're going to get to where you're in a situation where we said, okay, you haven't left us any alternatives. And there's a reason why there's a different function for the executive branch and the legislative branch. The legislative branch, you get to come and vote yes or no on that. But it's our responsibility to take a budget and make it work. And that, again, that's what the executive branch's function is. And if you want us to control the cost of state government and not have taxes go up, you can't keep taking tools out of our hands.
Would you envision vetoing that bill if it's to come to you?
Well, I hope it doesn't come to us. I'll just put it that way.
Another aspect that Humphrey is working on, there's been some discussion or interest by some lawmakers in sharing, if you want to use that word, the responsibility of appointment to various boards. There are a lot of boards that the Tennessee governor now takes care of and does just fine. I wonder if you have any thoughts, if it bothers you at all, makes any difference to you, again, speaking of the executive versus the legislative branch, in sharing that kind of a responsibility. Board of Education, you do all that. What do you think about sharing that?
I have a couple of thoughts there. And again, I think it goes back to the different roles and functions of the branches of government. And again, so many of those boards have a responsibility that are part of the administrative function of government. A couple things there. The truth is, believe me, I have like 3,500 board appointments, okay? There are times I'm like, I wish we have people that work full-time on doing that. But I also think it's important when you're putting boards together to have a coherent plan for that board. If I'm going to put a board together, it helps to say, I want to get a great balance of people in there. If you're splitting up the appointments, it's harder to do that, to get people. And sometimes that doesn't mean just, you have a balance on everything from, demographic balance in terms of, where people are from and sex and race and other things, but you also have a skill set balance. You want to have people like on a board of education who bring a variety of different perspectives. And if you're dividing up appointments, that gets much more difficult.
Is there any real need for anybody with the governor to appoint the Board of Education?
Well, you're probably asking somebody who has a little bias in that.
Maybe.
And I'll say that up front. But again, I think it's if you look at appointments, assuming, I guess the point would be that the legislature then is getting these appointments. But are the two speakers really going to go out and poll their membership about who should be an appointee? Well, I'm not sure that's going to happen. So I mean, again, I think to me, I don't always like that appointing authority. Like I said, it's a whole lot of them, and there's times when you have there's boards that either people you have that everybody wants to be on or that nobody wants to be on, and neither of them are easy to appoint to, because if everybody wants to be on, it's like, well, why'd you appoint Amy and not Megan, because Megan's my person. If there's boards that nobody wants, I'm on there going, Scott, please, would you serve the state here? Either are difficult, but I think to have a comprehensive, coherent plan about what that board should look like, I think it makes sense to be where it's always been. I mean, this isn't something new or different. That's where it's resided, is in the executive branch.
You have good relations with the leaders of both houses. Do you pick up any sense, do you have any concern of any kind that they may be wanting to entertain something like that?
I don't get it as much from the two speakers. I think there's members of both of their houses that that feel the way. Some that do and some that don't. And of course, in general, if you're in the legislative branch, you'd like to see the legislative branch have more authority. If you're in the judicial branch, you want to make certain that you get left alone. There's just a natural push-pull there.
One other thing that's come up I wanted to ask.
I tell you, now Humphrey's really done. He's actually now got you doing his work for him. So this is really impressive.
He's a lot smarter than I am, right? I haven't figured out any way to get other people to do my work for me.
That's Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
One other thing, I don't know if you saw or not, in December we did several stories about this whole issue of government lobbying government.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
the money that gets
Right.
spent by local government perhaps to go lobby lawmakers. And now we're hearing that Bill Dunn and I think it's Mike Bell are introducing some legislation which would require local or state employees, I believe, if they're going to go lobby, to register thus with the Ethics Commission. I wonder if you have any thoughts about that. Apparently, the lawmakers are saying, well, it's a transparency issue. We ought to go ahead, if we're going to have this happen, and make them register. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know, but I won't comment on the local piece. On the state, I'm not sure how that works. We have people right now, the legislators call them all the time and said, hey, would you come explain this? So do they want those folks to come to register? I guess I'd have to understand the bill better to understand who it included and why. When you all said, well, gosh, the governor has this many people lobbying for him.
Right.
Those are department liaisons
Right.
who handle a variety of issues. They're not out just saying, I'm saying, hey, you're you're attached to the Department of Environment and Conservation. You go lobby this. They're there to be a liaison with the executive branch with the legislative branch on a variety of issues. They get a constituent who has a problem with something. They're going to call that liaison, and liaison's going to go try to work out the issue. So for me, it'd be in terms of I need to understand the bill better, but it'd be to understand what are they calling. I mean, if we're a state government providing information to state legislators, I don't think that's lobbying, but